What's up, guys? Welcome back. We got the Queen here. Got fresh tires, Continental Extreme Contact Sports, factory size on them, and then we also did brake pads and rotors in the rear on this car since the last video. It's looking pretty good. We got this customer E46 M3 here. Rebuilt the Vanos on, now we're about to do the rod bearings on it. And you also saw in the last video of this car, we took it to do some testing in Mexico. And when we got back, we were driving it, noticed kind of basically what it has is it feels like a misfire. Doing combustion quality tests with E60 shows a couple cylinders are doing some kind of funny things, rather low readings. It's not throwing any misfire codes, but it definitely doesn't feel right. I drive this car quite a bit, pretty much daily, compared to this car that we don't daily. But anyway, I drive this car pretty much daily. So I know something doesn't feel right with it, and we have a couple races coming up, so prefer to be safe than sorry on it. So we're gonna do some diving into it today. So far, we've done a few quick things since we have a lot of E60 M5 parts here, like mass airflow sensors, spark plug coils, ionic modules. None of that stuff changed anything, reset adaptions. So we're gonna be looking a little bit further on this today. We're gonna start by getting the plenums off. Might swap out back to factory injectors instead of the upgraded injectors to see if that changes anything. And we'll likely be taking the valve covers off just because I want to make sure that there's no valve springs that are broken or damaged. Maybe if there is one, we could catch it early before it destroys the motor. Let's start taking things apart. Now we have some better access to get the plenums off with. Also, we're looking to get rid of this whole AFE intake setup, so if anybody's interested, let us know. We have it posted on our Instagram and on eBay. So all the boots on plenum 1 look good. Guess we have to keep going deeper. Okay, I did find a boot here that's torn. It's definitely, I guess, 2 boots. This one's torn a little bit closer towards the top than the other. Well, the bottom, depending on how you look at it. I don't think that's the misfire, so we're probably gonna keep going on it. Just gonna see the down and throttle bodies are looking a little dirty right now. I think it's gonna be a good time to clean everything up under here. Kind of clean up the wiring for the E85 and then also clean up some of the dust and such from when we were at the other shop before we moved. Yeah, I don't see anything that could be causing the miss yet besides the boots. I know that could definitely be a contributing factor to any of the issues on bank 2, but when I was looking at the combustion quality test, when it first started acting up, we had a lot of issues on bank 1, specifically cylinder 3. I disconnected the throttle actuator here so we could look in there and see if any of the valves are bent. To actually be able to see, we're likely gonna have to take the spark plugs out. So we can put a bore scope in there before we take the valve covers off. So probably stop here for now and then pick it back up again tomorrow. All right, we need to do some cleaning, but first we're gonna get all the coils out so we can do a proper compression test. E85 coils like to get stuck in the cylinder head, especially when it's hot. When it's cold, it's not so bad. The key is twisting and pulling motion. All right, all the coils are out of bank one. Yeah, see, the valve cover is pretty dirty. So another benefit of taking it off is gonna be we'll be able to clean it. Maybe do something different with the color on it, but on to bank two. If you're gonna do anything that involves pulling the coils on E85, make sure you have at least one spare. All right, so just got number 10 coil out. Showed you guys on number 9 how the black portion on the top of the coil comes off. There's a TSB on this happening, the whole head of it popping off, and this is what happened on number 10. So when the black portion pulls off, you can use pliers and grab the sides here, twist, pull it out. Obviously when this is off, a lot less to grab. Here's what's left of number 10. Couldn't grab it because it was round. Can't really drill into it. And even when you do get a good bite, all the coil just starts crumbling. Had to pound a screwdriver in right here and then use it to pry and pop it up. But number 10's out, so just gotta clean up a little mess back there. And we can get the plugs out, continue onward. Here's all the spark plugs in order, from 1 to 10. When this issue occurred, we did 3, 4, and 5. So 1 and 2. I've been in there for about 3,000 miles. All right, so we got ISTA up here. Gonna go into service functions, do injection deactivation. As it says here, for use when doing a compression test so the vehicle doesn't start. All right, fuel injection deactivated. Now we can crank it over, start the compression test. All right, guys, I forgot to push the record button on the compression test. But we did the compression test. Cylinder 1 was low, 90 PSI. The rest were all 120, except when we got to cylinder 10. That only had 15 PSI. Tried a bunch of different hoses and gauges, still the same thing, really low compression. So we put a little bit of transmission fluid in, raised the compression up on cylinders 1 and 10. So now we've changed directions because we're thinking not the valve springs, more of a compression issue from piston rings. So what we're gonna do for testing, still take the injectors off and put the stock ones on. We're also gonna throw the alpha N-tune we have for the car on, and then some velocity stacks and see what happens. Here we go. Velocity stacks. Alright, so the velocity stacks are on. Did do a little bit of cleaning here, so the valve cover's looking a lot better on both sides. Polished the stacks up and the fuel rails a little bit, but it's still not running right, even with the alpha N-tune on it. And we used a spare E60 M5 wiring harness, the mass airflow connectors off of it here, so we could run stock mass airflow for scaling, and just using the intake air temperature sensor part of the mass airflow, not actually using the mass airflows for measuring air. But like I said, it's still not running right. We use BMW logger and the air fuel ratios are insanely rich, and it's registering an air leak, and I was hoping to get this going so we didn't have to put everything all back together to see if we got the cylinder 10 misfire issue. Likely that cylinder missing, since again, it doesn't have any codes. But looks like we'll be putting the factory plumes back on and running it and hoping that the motor is still good. Here we go again. Alright, so it's all back together and running. Runs a lot better than when it had the velocity stacks on it, that's for sure. Side here, we're using IMPA or IMPA, some people call it. It's still running a little rough. I don't think we'll be able to see on the camera here, but yeah, no engine codes. If we go back, go down here to S85, MSS65 DME. Alright, so here's the cylinders. So cylinder 10 here at the bottom. That was the one when we did the compression test, was at 15 PSI. Put a little tranny fluid in there. Went up, but I'll give it a little gas here. Anybody that has epilepsy, stop watching the screen. It's kind of stroby here. And it's like this in person too, it's not the camera. But yeah, if you look here at cylinders 3 and 4, compared to the others, they're definitely a little bit lower. And how the quality of combustion test works with this DME and the S85 is after combustion occurs, it sends a little spark on the spark plug, and then it's measuring that as the quality of combustion. So it's not a real good indicator of compression, and you have spark duration over here to see how the coils and plugs are doing. Yeah, 3 and 4 are still looking low. They were the same as all the others besides number 10 when it came to compression. As you can see, they're dropping over here occasionally below 0.3, which is on ISTA when you do this test, is where like the line for bad is, and it turns red. I like using this program sometimes just because it's lighter weight, so I mean it's fast, we can go back pretty easy. F4 for E60, enter over functional test, enter F4, F1, and we're pulling up air codes for all the modules. But yeah, again, nothing in the DME. And it still runs a little rough. Sounds good, but probably take it for a test drive before putting everything back together here. Just hoping it comes out of it and we don't need to buy a motor. Alright, ready to go for a drive here. We're gonna use BMW logger. So we'll be able to monitor some data. This doesn't work to monitor misfires or anything like that, but we'll at least be able to see our fuel ratio, oil temp, coolant temp, intake temps, all of the good stuff here. So let's go for a little drive. Stats are looking good here. No more smoke. At least we accomplished that. doing pretty good. Still no check engine lights. Idle is still slightly rough, but overall doing a lot better than before. Definitely have to keep an eye on that cylinder 10 having low compression. Might need to be looking for a new motor or a used motor. Have to weigh out some options. We'll keep you guys posted with what we find out on it. Since the compression test numbers went up doing the wet test, it's unlikely that it's something like a valve spring causing low compression. It's more likely an issue with the piston ring or the cylinder bore, even though when we put the bore scope in there, there wasn't any type of obvious wear on the cylinders. So definitely gonna have to keep an eye out on this though. But we made it this far. Thanks for watching. As always, smash the like and subscribe button.